Short-term rentals are on the chopping block here in Albuquerque. We'll hear both sides of the argument as city council members push to limit the amount of short-term rentals in our city. Plus, I'll show you a short-term rental loophole and why my property failed as an Airbnb. Stay tuned. This is all about Albuquerque. Hey, it's Skip at Sold by Skip, and we post videos like this every week. So if it's your first time to the channel and you want to learn everything about Albuquerque, including what it's like to live here, work here, and play here, then be sure to tap that subscribe button and ring the little bell. That way you're notified every time we post a new video. Now, my team has been helping people from literally all over the world now buy and sell homes here in Albuquerque and the surrounding areas. And we look forward to connecting with you too. So give me a call or shoot me a text. And be sure to follow me on Instagram for insider tips into New Mexico's largest city. There seems to be a shortage of affordable housing here in Albuquerque, which has sparked 3 city councilors to focus on capping the amount of short-term rentals in our city. So in this video, we'll break down the pros and cons of this measure and what it means for property owners here in Albuquerque. City council members are sponsoring an ordinance that would restrict short-term rentals like Airbnbs or Vrbos or any rental property that is rented for 29 days or fewer. It would limit the number of permits for those rentals to only 1,200 citywide. So the city says the limitations would mitigate what they call excessive use of short-term rentals and increase the number of affordable houses available for people to live in.
The affordable housing crisis is set to take center stage in Albuquerque city councilors to ease the housing shortage by going after short-term rentals.
Well, Tommy, the main point is to limit standalone short-term rentals in Albuquerque with the goal of creating more permanent housing options.
Short-term rental owners continue to voice their opinions on social media, saying affordable housing solutions should not come at the expense of local investors and property owners.
The people who don't support this idea argue the city has no right to set rental terms, adding, "My property, my choice."
And this is where I sit on the issue. As a property owner, I've saved my entire life to be able to buy, investment properties. So it just doesn't make sense to me that government can step in and say, hey, this is what you're allowed to do with your property and this is what not. As long as I'm not breaking any rules in the CC&Rs or the community guidelines, keep your hands out of my pocket. Yeah, and also, we're living in a society. Short-term rentals are all the buzz right now. And there's something sexy about running a short-term rental as a side hustle or a way to supplement your income. So there is a loophole for operating short-term rentals. The ordinance qualifies short-term rentals as a unit being rented for 29 days or less. So if you're renting your investment property out for at least 30 days and you're following neighborhood restrictions and guidelines, you should be okay to continue to operate. Short-term rentals seem easy enough, right? Well, follow along as I stumble through the process of running a furnished short-term rental near the Albuquerque Country Club and find out why my property wouldn't cut it as an Airbnb. But before we start, which side of the fence are you on? Do you think putting a cap on short-term rentals will have a positive impact on easing the affordable housing shortage? Let me know in the comments below. And be sure to tap that like button if you're getting any value out of this video. We had a crazy experience while renovating our furnished rental property outside of Albuquerque Country Club. Turns out we had bees living in the wall, and they had been living there for a long time. So we called in the experts, New Mexico beekeepers. And not only were they able to remove the bees, they were able to drop some knowledge on me. They used thermal imaging to find out the exact location of the hive. They cut out the stucco around it, removed it, and this really set the bees off. Now, I was across the street filming and zooming in, but I wish we had multiple cameramen, because what happened next was the bees swarmed me. They swarmed everywhere, but they got in my shirt, in my hair. I had to drop the camera and run. What the beekeepers told me was kind of counterintuitive. They said, if the bees are in your shirt and they're all over you, get inside your car. What happens is the bees want to be outside, so they'll leave you alone. I got a bee in my hair. One thing to note, obviously leave it to the professionals, but you don't want to exterminate the bees. Hire beekeepers to come in and rehome the bees. And it's simple. All they do is locate the queen and the honeycomb.
Oh, it's a good size one.
They're in my hair.
So what you guys saw on video, there was a big swarm of them.
Yeah. This hive was being rehomed to the North Valley, where they could pollinate flowers and fruit trees and keep our vital ecosystem alive here in Albuquerque. One of the main things you have to be careful of, and I don't even know why I have to go on and say this, but dude, I got stung everywhere. They're in my hair. I wish we had a different cameraman. I was the only cameraman. I took off running. I had to ditch the camera. But my thumb is swollen. It looks like I gave blood in my arm. The good news is we were able to remedy the bee problem. And while we're here, let's just take a tour of our furnished rental. So it's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, and we've updated everything, all the fixtures in each of the rooms. Plus we went to the dollar store, got some cool tchotchkes to hang on the wall. So the centerpiece is a spiral staircase, and then it splits off into 2 separate bedrooms, exposed ceilings all the way throughout. The kitchen's got these cool brick floors and nice new countertops and appliances, so it's got a cozy feel to it. And the location of this place is fantastic in the Albuquerque Country Club area. We're pet friendly. There's a dog park down the street, public swimming pool. And you can see right here, we've got a fireplace. You can actually have a fire in Darth Vader's head down there. But either way, I wanted you to take a tour of our furnished rental because I always talk about it because it's something that we're proud of. So if you're in need of a furnished rental for your stay here in Albuquerque, hit me up. We've got you covered. And you won't believe how convenient it is. So back to it, there have been heated debates online with people going back and forth about the short-term rentals here in Albuquerque. And it's important to hear both sides of the argument. So moving along, we'll break down the pros and cons of allowing more government regulation when it comes to the topic of short-term rentals and property ownership.
This new ordinance would have 3 major changes to the city's short-term rental code. First, it would cap the number of short-term rental permits in the city at 1,200. It would also limit the number of rental properties one person can have to 3. And finally, it would increase the penalties for those who break this ordinance.
Did you know that a short-term rental is required to have a permit to operate in the city? Yeah, and right now there's around 600 short-term rental properties that have permits in Albuquerque. But it's estimated that there are closer to about 1,200 rentals in operation, and that's based off stats from Vrbo Airbnb. So based on this count, the city has arrived at a 1,200 unit limit for short-term rentals. So the permit comes with a fee of $120 for the first year and an annual renewal fee of $90 for the second and following years. Which means as long as you apply for a license soon, you should be grandfathered in should this measure pass. So we'll be diving further into this issue on my Instagram and Twitter handle, which are both @SoldBySkip. So be sure to meet me there and join the conversation. One argument against allowing furnished short-term rentals in Albuquerque is that furnished short-term rentals can reduce the availability of long-term rental housing, which drives up housing costs for local renters. And I think this is where the hot button lies. As more properties are converted into short-term rentals, it can put pressure on the local rental market, making it harder for families and individuals to find affordable housing. And this in turn leads to an increase in homelessness and housing insecurity. Additionally, short-term rentals may not be subject to the same safety and health standards as traditional hotels or motels, putting renters at risk. Furnished short-term rentals may not have fire sprinklers, smoke detectors, or adequate emergency exits, putting both renters and neighbors in risk in the event of a fire or emergency. Another argument is that furnished short-term rentals lead to an increase in neighborhood disruptions and safety concerns for surrounding property owners. These rentals often attract a rotating cast of transient guests who may engage in loud or disruptive behavior, leading to complaints from permanent residents. And furthermore, short-term renters may not always be properly vetted, posing a safety risk to other people that live in the neighborhood. Let's look at the other side of the coin. One argument against Albuquerque's proposed limit on short-term rental properties is that it could negatively impact the city's economy and local business. Here's how. The rise of short-term rental properties such as Airbnb have provided a valuable source of income for many property owners and has also helped boost the local economy and tourist industry. So by limiting the number of short-term rental properties, Albuquerque could potentially drive away tourists and reduce the revenue generated from the tourism industry. And another argument, and this is the most important, is that It could infringe on the property owner's rights. Short-term rentals are a legitimate use of private property. Additionally, it's possible that the limit could lead to an increase in the cost of housing in Albuquerque, as property owners who were previously earning money from short-term rentals will have to look for alternative sources of income to bridge that gap. Now, this could lead to an increase in rental prices and make it even more difficult for residents to afford housing. I think overall, while the intention behind Albuquerque's proposed limit on short-term rental properties maybe to address certain concerns, it could have unintended consequences that negatively impact the local economy and residents. So if you're liking this content so far, I encourage you to tune into my youABQ podcast on our sister YouTube channel. The link will be in the description below. And as always, friends, if you're thinking about making a move to, in, or around Albuquerque, be sure to reach out. Just give me a call or shoot me a text, and I'll reach out to you personally. But also, make sure you subscribe to our sister YouTube channel, youABQ, to get insight on community leaders and titans of industry locally here in our city.
Wait! Before you leave, I want to share another video I think you might find informative by clicking up here. And lastly, friends, don't forget to subscribe here by clicking this link to stay up to date with future videos. As always, visit soldbyskip.com for a free list of homes priced to sell. Thanks for watching.